In 1565, the mighty Ottoman Empire launched one of the most ambitious invasions in history, sending an armada of nearly 200 ships and over 40,000 troops to conquer a small, rocky island in the Mediterranean. Their objective: the complete destruction of the Knights of St. John and the conquest of Malta. What followed was one of the most heroic last stands in military history, a battle in which a few thousand men, led by an aging warrior, defied an empire at the height of its power. This is the story of the Great Siege of Malta. The Ottoman Empire's rise. By the 16th century, the Ottoman Empire was an unstoppable force. It had conquered Constantinople, crushed Hungary, and controlled vast territories from the Middle East to North Africa. Under the leadership of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, the empire was at the height of its power. The Mediterranean, once a battlefield between Christian and Muslim navies, had largely fallen under Ottoman control. But one thorn remained in their side: the Knights of St. John. These warrior monks had fought the Ottomans for decades. After being expelled from Rhodes in 1522, they had taken refuge on the small but strategically vital island of Malta. From here, they launched raids on Ottoman shipping, disrupting supply lines and striking fear into the empire's navy. Suleiman had had enough. He ordered an all-out invasion to crush the Knights once and for all, paving the way for further conquests into the heart of Europe. The forces assemble. In May 1565, a vast Ottoman armada set sail. It consisted of 193 ships, carrying over 40,000 men, including elite Janissary shock troops, cavalry, and siege engineers. The invasion was led by Grand Admiral Piali Pasha, Mustafa Pasha, and the legendary corsair Commander Dragut. Opposing them were the defenders of Malta, just 700 knights, 2,000 professional soldiers, and around 5,000 Maltese militiamen. Their leader was Jean Perisat de Valette, a 70-year-old French nobleman and battle-hardened warrior who had spent decades fighting the Ottomans. Knowing that surrender meant annihilation, Valette prepared his forces to fight to the last man. The knights fortified 3 strongholds: Fort St. Elmo, Fort St. Angelo, and Fort St. Michael. The siege begins. The Ottomans first targeted Fort St. Elmo, a small fortress guarding the entrance to the Grand Harbor. Expecting it to fall within days, they launched relentless bombardments and waves of assaults. But the knights refused to surrender. For over a month, they held out against overwhelming odds. Thousands of Ottomans were killed in the brutal fighting, including Dragut himself, struck by a cannonball. Furious at the delay, Mustafa Pasha finally overran the fort, massacring the remaining defenders. But the cost had been staggering. 6,000 of his men lay dead. The Ottomans now turned their sights on the main forts, St. Angelo and St. Michael. They unleashed 65,000 cannonballs over the next 2 months, reducing the walls to rubble. The situation inside the forts was desperate. Food ran low. Water was scarce. Disease spread. The Maltese civilians, including women and children, carried supplies and rebuilt defenses under constant fire. The defenders resorted to brutal hand-to-hand combat, repelling wave after wave of attackers. Yet they did not break. The Ottomans tried tunneling under the walls, but the defenders dug countermines, leading to savage underground battles in total darkness. By early September, after nearly 4 months of brutal siege, the Ottoman army was exhausted. They had lost over 20,000 men and supplies were running low. Morale crumbled. Then came the final blow. The relief force arrives. Word of Malta's plight had reached Sicily, where a Christian relief force had been assembled. On September 7, 1565, a fleet carrying 8,000 fresh troops landed on the island. Upon hearing this, the remaining Ottomans panicked. The exhausted soldiers, who had expected an easy victory, now faced renewed resistance. Seeing the Christian reinforcements march onto the battlefield, Mustafa Pasha ordered a full retreat. On September 11, 1565, the last Ottoman soldiers boarded their ships and sailed away, abandoning the siege. The turning point of history. The victory at Malta sent shockwaves across Europe. The Ottomans, once thought invincible, had suffered one of their greatest defeats. Never again would they attempt to conquer the island. Jean Perisat de Valette, the hero of the siege, became a legend. The new capital of Malta, Valletta, was named in his honor. Malta's victory marked the beginning of Ottoman decline in the Mediterranean. 6 years later, the Christian Holy League would crush the Ottoman navy at the Battle of Lepanto, 1571, ending Ottoman dominance at sea. Without Malta, the Ottomans could have used the island as a launching point to invade Italy, southern France, or Spain. Instead, 700 knights and a handful of soldiers had changed the course of history. The Great Siege of Malta stands as one of the most dramatic battles in history, a moment when a few thousand warriors defied an empire and won. Had the Ottomans succeeded, Europe may have faced a very different fate. But through unbreakable will, incredible leadership, and sheer determination, the Knights of St. John stood their ground and turned the tide of history. Malta was more than just a battle. It was a symbol of courage, resilience, and defiance in the face of overwhelming odds. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Great Siege of Malta, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to @CryptoStoic Insights for more incredible historical stories. Which historical battle do you think had the biggest impact on world history? Let us know in the comments. And remember, history is not just about the past. It shapes the future. Stay curious. Stay informed.